Have you ever stared at an opportunity, a new job, a text you wanted to send, or a dream you've been nursing, and felt your stomach just drop? You want it. You want it so bad. But then a voice whispers inside your head, "What if I mess this up? What if people laugh? What if I'm not good enough?" And so you do nothing. You freeze. This isn't just hesitation. This is the fear of failure paralyzing you. And if you feel like you're stuck in a loop of overthinking and missing out, this video is exactly for you. Today, we are not going to talk about eliminating fear completely, because that's impossible. Instead, I'm going to show you how to hack your brain, turning that fear from a roadblock into fuel for your breakthrough. I've put together 9 powerful psychological secrets to help you stop fearing failure and start taking risks, even when you don't feel ready. Let's dive in.
The first secret, and the most important one to stop self-blame, you have to understand that fear of failure is not a sign that you are weak. It is a sign that your brain is working a little too well. Let's travel back 100,000 years. Our ancestors lived in an environment where every mistake could cost them their lives. If you were kicked out of the tribe for messing up, you would starve or be eaten by predators. To survive, the brain developed a hypersensitive alarm system called the amygdala, or as I like to call it, the lizard brain. Its only job is to keep you safe at all costs. When it sniffs out risk, it triggers the response: fight, flight, or freeze. Here lies the problem. Your lizard brain hasn't received a software update for the 21st century. It cannot distinguish the difference between being attacked by a tiger or being rejected by a crush or failing a startup project. When you think about taking a risk, your brain screams, "Danger! Fatal!" It pumps adrenaline and cortisol into your blood. Your heart races to pump blood. Your hands shake. Your stomach churns. That is not cowardice. That is biology. So the first step to overcoming fear isn't forcing yourself to be brave. It's relabeling the emotion. Don't call it weakness. Call it an overzealous bodyguard. Try this exercise the next time you feel fear. Instead of letting it consume you, talk to it. It sounds crazy, but whisper this: "Thank you, brain. Thanks for trying to protect me. But this email can't kill me. I'm safe." When you detach yourself from that biological reaction, you reactivate the prefrontal cortex, the logical part of your brain. You switch from survival mode to growth mode, and that is when you take back control. Don't try to turn off the fear switch. Learn to drive while the warning light is still blinking. That is the essence of taking risks.
We often don't fear failure itself. We fear being seen failing. You imagine that if you stumble, everyone will point, laugh, and remember that moment forever. This is the ego's greatest illusion, the spotlight effect. Psychology defines this as the phenomenon where we overestimate how much others are noticing us. You think you are the main character in everyone else's movie. Bad news, but also the best news you'll hear today. You aren't that important. In the movie of other people's lives, you are just an extra walking through the background. Think back to the last time you saw someone do something slightly embarrassing. Maybe a colleague stuttered in a meeting. How long did you think about it? 2 seconds? 5 seconds? And then you went right back to worrying about yourself, right? The truth is, everyone is too busy with their own movie, with their own anxieties and insecurities. They don't have time to scrutinize your script. When you realize nobody cares, it isn't loneliness. It is absolute freedom. It means you can start that YouTube channel, write that book, or change careers at 30. If you succeed, great. If you fail, nobody will remember. By next week, they'll have forgotten. But if you don't do it, 10 years from now, the only person remembering and regretting it will be you. So secret number 2 is leverage your irrelevance. Go ahead and mess up, because your audience is actually busy looking at their phones.
Why is the word failure so terrifying? Because we have been programmed since childhood. In school, life is polarized. Pass or fail. Right or wrong. An A or an F. The education system taught us that a mistake is a verdict. But real life is not an exam room. Life is a laboratory. And secret number 3 is stop being a judge and start being a scientist. Imagine Thomas Edison. When he failed 10,000 times to create the light bulb, did he go home, cry under his blanket, and think he was a loser? No! He simply wrote in his notebook, way number 9,999 didn't work. Variable eliminated. Moving on. This is the most critical mindset shift. Do not view a negative result as a reflection of your self-worth. View it as data. When you get rejected, that is not failure. That is data showing your approach wasn't suitable, or that person isn't your target audience. When your video gets low views, it doesn't mean you suck. It is data indicating the title or thumbnail needs optimization. Scientists don't have egos. They only care about the truth. When you detach your ego from the outcome, you feel incredibly relieved. You no longer fear being wrong because every mistake brings you one step closer to being right. So my advice, fail faster. Collect as much data as possible. Don't wait for a perfect plan. Launch the draft, see the market's reaction, take the first hits, and pivot. Remember, you cannot fail in an experiment. You can only harvest results. Good data or bad data, both make you smarter tomorrow.
Fear is often like a monster in the closet. When the lights are off, it is huge, terrifying, and has claws. But when you flip the switch, it's usually just an old coat hanging on a hook. Secret number 4 comes from the ancient Stoic philosophers. They had an exercise called premeditation of evils. Instead of running from fear, they invited it in for tea. They looked it straight in the eye. We are often paralyzed by ambiguity. What if I fail is a vague question. Be specific. Take out a pen and paper and write down in detail, if you fail, exactly what will happen. For example, you want to quit your job to start a business. What is the worst-case scenario? You lose all your savings? You have to sell your car? You have to move back in with your parents for a few months. Your friends will laugh at you? Write it all down. Don't skip any detail, no matter how embarrassing. Once written, look at that list and ask yourself, will these things kill me? The answer is usually no. They're uncomfortable, embarrassing, or temporarily inconvenient, but they are not a death sentence. Next, create a repair plan. If the worst happens, what will you do to get back up? Can you apply for jobs again? Can you work extra hours to earn money? When you have a backup plan, the fear evaporates, because you know that even if you hit rock bottom, you have a ladder to climb back up. But here is the most important part. We often weigh the risks of action, but we forget the risks of inaction. If you don't take this risk, what will your life look like in 1 year, 5 years, or 10 years? Still that boring job? Still that nagging regret? Stagnation has a price too, and that price is often higher than failure. It is regret. Choose the short-term pain of failing and learning, or the dull, lifelong pain of never daring to try.
There is a sweet lie that society often tells us. Talent is innate. You are born either a genius or average. If you try once and fail, it means you don't have the gift.
Dr. Carol Dweck calls this the fixed mindset. People with this mindset believe intelligence and skills are fixed traits. So when they face failure, they feel like they are defective. They say, "I'm bad at math. I can't write. I'm not a business person." But neuroscience has proven the opposite. Your brain has neuroplasticity. It is like a muscle. Every time you make a mistake and try to fix it, your neurons connect more strongly. You actually get smarter because of failure. To switch to a growth mindset, you simply need to add one magic word to the end of your sentence. That word is yet. Instead of saying, "I can't do it," say, "I can't do it yet." Instead of saying, "I don't know how to make money online," say, "I don't know how yet." The difference is massive. Can't is a dead end. Not yet is an opening path. Look at life like a video game. When you play a game and lose at level 1, do you throw the controller and scream, "I wasn't born to play this game"? No, you hit replay. You know you just need to grind for more XP, experience points. Failure in real life is the same. It's just a notification you need more XP in this skill. You aren't incompetent. You are just a noob training to become a pro, and every master was once a disaster. Don't let failure define who you are. Let your effort define who you will become. Fall in love with that painful but wonderful process of transformation. We've talked a lot about mindset, but let's be real. When failure hits, it hurts. It physically hurts. Rejection or failure triggers the same brain areas as physical pain. Don't let anyone tell you to just cheer up. That is toxic positivity. When we fail, we usually make a mistake. We either suppress the emotion and pretend we're fine, only to explode later, or we crawl into bed and ruminate on the pain for weeks. Both ways destroy your confidence. The solution here is the 24-hour rule. This is the golden rule of Olympic athletes and top CEOs. The game is simple. You have exactly 24 hours to fully experience your emotions regarding the result. Did you fail miserably? Great! You have 24 hours to be a drama queen. Cry, scream into a pillow, eat that whole tub of ice cream, complain to your best friend that life is unfair, let it all out. Don't hold back a thing. But the moment the clock hits the 24-hour mark, boom, time's up. You stop. You wipe your tears, wash your face, and get back to the desk. Why does this rule work? Because it allows your inner child to be comforted, but also requires the adult in you to take responsibility. After 24 hours, we don't speak in emotions anymore. We speak in strategy. Why did the project fail? What is the lesson? What is the next step? And a little secret, this rule applies to success too. If you win big, you also only have 24 hours to celebrate, gloat, and pat yourself on the back. Then come back to earth and keep working. Don't let failure go to your heart, and don't let success go to your head. Emotions are visitors. Invite them in, treat them kindly, but never let them move in permanently.
Do you think risk takers, successful entrepreneurs, or famous content creators have stronger willpower than you? The answer might surprise you. Not necessarily. They are just smarter at being lazy. Secret number 7 is based on a psychological truth. Willpower is a finite resource. It acts like a phone battery. Every time you have to mentally fight to overcome fear, your battery drops a bar. By the end of the day, you're drained and retreat to your safety zone. So don't try to use willpower to fight fear. Use environment. Humans are fundamentally like water. We flow towards the path of least resistance. If you want to take a risky action, make it the easiest thing to do. Here's an example. You want to start a YouTube channel but fear filming. Set up your camera, lights, and mic on your desk the night before. The next morning, the friction to start is near zero. You just press a button. You removed the setup phase, the phase fear loves to use to stop you. But even more important than the physical environment is the digital environment. Who are you following on social media? If your newsfeed is full of people flexing perfection, you will fear failure. If your feed is full of negative news, you will fear the world. Beware of the crab bucket effect. If you want to escape the bucket to reach the ocean, but you are surrounded by crabs pulling you down out of jealousy or their own fear, you will never climb out. Redesign your social environment. Find 5 people who are doing what you are afraid to do and be near them. Energy is contagious. When you see everyone around you taking risks and failing daily, your brain gets the signal, this is safe. I can do this too. Don't be a victim of circumstance. Be the architect of it. Design a life where brave action is the default setting, and being afraid is the hard part.
The biggest mistake we make when trying to change our lives is greed. We want to jump from A to Z in one go. You want to finish a book in a month. You want to lose 10 kilograms instantly. And when staring at that gigantic mountain, your brain just shuts down. Remember our friend the amygdala from Secret 1? It hates big changes. To it, a big goal equals big danger. It will trigger fear to stop you. This is the biological mechanism of procrastination. So, how do we bypass this strict security guard? We fly under the radar. Break your goal down until it's ridiculously small, small enough that your brain feels embarrassed not to do it. This is the Japanese method of Kaizen. Afraid of writing? Don't write a chapter. Commit to writing exactly 1 sentence. Afraid of exercise? Don't run 5 kilometers. Commit to just putting on your shoes. That's it. You might laugh and say, what's the point of writing 1 sentence? But here is the magic. Motivation doesn't create action. Action creates motivation. Once you write that 1 sentence, your brain releases a little dopamine. You feel good, and naturally, you want to write the second one. The hardest part of a rocket launch is lifting off the ground. The hardest part of taking a risk is the first 2 minutes. Microactions help you overcome that static friction without waking up the fear response. If a task scares you, ask, what is the 2-minute version of this? Don't call the client, just find their phone number. Don't clean the whole house, just wash 1 bowl. Trick your brain into thinking you're just playing around. Don't wait until you feel ready or pumped up. Start with a tiny step so small that it is impossible to fail.
We have gone through 8 secrets about techniques, the brain, and the environment. But there is one final truth, without which all those techniques are meaningless. It is the question, why do you want to do this? Imagine a narrow wooden plank bridging 2 skyscrapers. If I offered you $100 to cross it, you would say, no way, too dangerous. Fear would stop you. But if the building on the other side was on fire and your child was trapped there, would you still fear the height? No, you would run across that plank immediately. The lesson here is fear does not disappear, but when your why is big enough, the how becomes small. Philosopher Nietzsche once said, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." If you only want to start a business, to buy a luxury car, the fear of failure will defeat you instantly, because a car isn't worth the suffering. But if you do it for financial freedom for your family, to change your parents' lives, or to share your voice, then the fear of failure must yield to something greater, responsibility. Fear often stems from selfishness. We fear that we will look foolish, we will be poor, we will be in pain. But when you shift your focus from me to others, to a mission of service and contribution, you will find yourself surprisingly brave. Find the meaning in your suffering. Maybe you want to make videos about depression because you don't want anyone to feel as lonely as you once did. That is a sacred mission, and that mission is worth the risk. Don't just ask, how do I stop being afraid? Ask, what is so important that I am willing to be afraid to do it? When you find the light of your life's meaning, the darkness of fear will naturally recede into the background.
We have traveled a long road together. I know absorbing 9 psychological secrets at once can be a bit overwhelming, but think of this video as a survival kit. You don't need to use them all at once. Pick the tool that best fits your battle today. Remember, when your heart races, it is biology, not weakness. When you fear judgment, remember the spotlight effect. They don't care. When you fail, put on your scientist glasses and call it data. When anxious, write down the worst-case scenario. Add the word yet to the end of your sentence to unlock potential. Allow yourself to grieve for exactly 24 hours. Redesign your environment to make action easy. Start with micro-actions in 2 minutes. And finally, most importantly, find a meaning big enough to make the fear feel small. Courage is not something you are born with. It is a muscle. You train it by being afraid and acting anyway. Today, you dare to send an email. Tomorrow, you dare to ask for a raise. The day after that, you dare to start a business. Little by little. I have a small challenge for you right now. Don't just click off this video and scroll to the next one. Leave a comment below. What is one tiny thing you're afraid of but commit to doing today? Just one thing. Writing it down is the first step to making it real. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like and hit that subscribe button. It is the best way to support me in making more in-depth content like this. You can also watch the video How to Deal with Stress on the screen to add to your toolkit. Thank you for listening. Be brave. Goodbye.